a journey of struggles. The hum of busy travelers filled the air as people rushed through LAX airport, each lost in their own world. Some were eager for vacations, others were on important business trips, and some, like Michael Carter, were just trying to survive another day. Michael sat on a worn-out bench near Gate 17, his 5-year-old son, Oliver, curled up beside him. Oliver's small hands clutched a tattered stuffed bear, the only toy they had managed to bring on this unexpected journey. Michael hadn't planned on being here. Just a few months ago, he had a stable job, a small apartment, and a wife who made everything feel complete. But life doesn't always follow the script. His wife, Claire, had passed away suddenly, leaving him alone to raise their son. The grief had been unbearable, but what made it worse was the financial collapse that followed. Bills stacked up. Rent became impossible to pay. He lost his job. Now, with nothing left, Michael had one final hope: his sister in New York. She had offered to help, and he had scraped together just enough money for 2 one-way tickets. But there was a problem. The flight had been delayed for hours, and Oliver was growing restless. Michael had only $12 left in his pocket, not enough for a real meal. He sighed, running a hand through his unkempt hair. He felt like a failure. A few seats away, Tom Hanks sat quietly, sipping a cup of coffee. He had arrived early for his own flight, intending to read a book while waiting. But instead, he found himself watching the young father and his son. There was something about the way the man looked at his child. Exhausted, yet determined. Something in the way the little boy held on to his father's sleeve, trusting him completely, even in uncertainty. Tom had seen this kind of struggle before. He had played characters who lived it. But this was real. As he watched, Oliver, unaware of the weight his father carried, tugged at Michael's sleeve. "Daddy, I'm hungry." Michael swallowed hard. He glanced at the airport food court, knowing he couldn't afford anything decent. "I know, buddy," he said softly. "We'll eat soon, okay?" Oliver nodded, but his small stomach grumbled in protest. Tom put his coffee down. He had seen enough. Standing up, Tom walked over and smiled warmly at Michael. "Excuse me," he said. "I couldn't help but notice you and your little guy. What's his name?" Michael looked up, caught off guard. Why was Tom Hanks talking to him? Oliver. His name's Oliver." Tom knelt down to Oliver's level. "Hey there, Oliver. I'm Tom. You know, I have a friend named Woody. He would love to meet you," he joked, referencing his famous Toy Story character. Oliver's face lit up with excitement. "Woody? The real Woody?" Michael let out a small chuckle, his first genuine laugh in weeks. Tom turned back to Michael. "You know," he said casually, "I was about to grab a bite. Would you two mind joining me?" Michael hesitated. He didn't want charity, but he also didn't want his son to go hungry. Finally, he nodded. "That would be amazing. Thank you." At the airport cafe, Oliver excitedly talked to Tom about his favorite movies, while Michael slowly felt his shoulders relax for the first time in months. Tom didn't ask invasive questions. He didn't make Michael feel pitied. Instead, he simply listened. Michael eventually opened up about Claire, about the struggles of single fatherhood, about how he was trying to restart his life. Tom nodded thoughtfully. "You're doing better than you think," he said. "The fact that you're here, pushing forward, shows strength most people don't have." Michael felt tears sting his eyes. He had spent so long feeling like a failure, but here was Tom Hanks, a legend, telling him he was strong. Before they parted ways, Tom pulled out his wallet and handed Michael something. Michael shook his head. "Sir, I can't." But Tom held up a hand. "This isn't charity. Consider it a push in the right direction. And when you're back on your feet, pay it forward." Michael looked down. It was a check. For $5,000. His breath hitched. This wasn't just money. This was hope. A few weeks later, Michael and Oliver had settled into their new home in New York. Michael had found a job. He was rebuilding, step by step. And one evening, as Oliver played with his new Woody toy, Michael looked at a small, sticky note pinned to the fridge. It was from Tom. "Keep going. You're stronger than you know. Tom Hanks." Michael smiled. Life had given him every reason to give up, but one moment of kindness had changed everything. Sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest impact. A simple meal, a few kind words, an unexpected act of generosity, these things can change a life. And when you've been helped, never forget to pass it on.